a number of cabinet members have come out and made statements in support of Keir Starmer. However, I think that's a symptom of the fact that clearly Number 10 Downing Street has been rallying around,
Yeah.
calling around every cabinet member, urging them to show support. And it's very hard for them not to at this point, but one of them will break, or a junior minister will break. And when that happens, that's the beginning of the dam. I actually thought that Anas Sarwar's statement would be the beginning of the dam breaking, but it's definitely coming. It's almost impossible to see how Starmer survives this guy.
And then, I think back, Andy, I'm sure you remember too, I think if my memory serves me correctly, that manifesto document that was held aloft by Keir Starmer just had one word on it, change, I think it was. And there was a real sense that with this government, they won't get everything perfect, but what you are going to get is a change in terms of accountability, a change in terms of the way relationships are managed. There'll be a real sense of behaving in a way that the public will respect. I mean, that's just completely gone out of the window, hasn't it?
Yeah, the manifesto that Keir Starmer and the ruling Labour Party published to try and win the electorate's confidence here was all about change. They said very little. They gave very little detail of actual policies and things that they would change, but they were elected with about 33% of the vote, pledging change, pledging to clean up politics. But what's happened, in truth, is that the scandals have continued but got worse. The lack of direction and clarity has continued and got worse. And people feel more pessimistic now than they did before. And politics is largely about optimism. If people feel that the future will be better than the past, as a politician, you're in great shape. They're going to vote for you. When people feel negative, they're going to vote for somebody else. So you are dead right that change was promised. No change has come. In fact, the problems that were there with the previous government have continued and got worse. And that's why, to use your words and your phrase, Keir Starmer is toast.
And it does beg the question, though, doesn't it, in all of this? I mean, we understand political alliances. We understand how you have to play the game as a leader to keep certain factions in your party happy. You often will hire people that you perhaps don't like or even respect very much if that person will get you a result with a particular tranche of the electorate. We all understand these different sort of machinations. But the vetting process, I mean, Keir Starmer was a pretty successful lawyer. And in fact, one of the things that a previous boss of his said about Keir Starmer was that he actually excels at research, at scrutinising data and information. How could he possibly have got this so wrong?
I think that Keir Starmer is really bad at making decisions. I have never worked with him, but I can imagine that he's incredibly good at research, at going through the machinations, the cogitations about the pros and cons of a project. But at the end of the day, he seems to rely on those around him to offer advice, to help him make decisions. And obviously, some of that is good advice and some of it is bad. He seems to always come down on the side of the bad advice. Peter Mandelson is what's precipitated the current crisis, which is itself is an extension of the Epstein issue, which is international. And it seems that he was strongly advised by a number of cabinet ministers not to touch Peter Mandelson because of his track record of if I say dodgy deals, I don't necessarily mean criminally illegal, but I mean highly questionable and ethically unsuitable for government. He's got a history of that. Yet there seemed to be a small group of people that were lobbying hard for the hiring of Peter Mandelson for that top job in the USA, UK ambassador to the USA. And that's been the latest or final straw that's brought about this undoing, which is inevitably coming. So while I think you're right, Guy, I think that he is a detail man, he's a forensic man, he will study. He's bad at making decisions and he listens to too many people and seems to put his faith in the wrong people.
And we're hearing now, Andy, lots of cries from people saying, oh, this is back to old Westminster habits. We need a new, fresh approach to governing. But is it really possible in the modern world, with so much at stake economically, politically, to avoid doing business, having some kind of relations with people that the electorate may not wish us to have, frankly?
Oh, really good question. I mean, for example, at an international level, there's lots of tension here in the UK and debate about how close we should be to China. And there's a British citizen, British and Hong Kong citizen called Jimmy Lau, who's been imprisoned today in China or sentenced to effectively a life sentence. He's a 78-year-old pro-democracy businessman. And a lot of people here are very cross about that and say we should be tougher with China. But you are right, is that we have to tread very carefully with people with whom we need to do business with. There are people with whom you need to get along. However, the Epstein scandal and its version over here, which is the Peter Mandelson, Lord Mandelson scandal, is less about major business and investment, and it's more just about personal ambition, personal greed, and betraying government secrets in return for favours. It's much less about large-scale investment and more about personal enrichment.
And finally, Andy, you've got a very strong track record of making predictions on this show, and I know you have on other TV channels as well. Who do you think? I mean, is Angela Rayner a dead cert, or do you think another potential leader might surprise us at the last minute?
Well, you know what? There are always surprises, Guy, always surprises. And often it's the candidate who surprises the watchers who ends up winning. Right now, if you follow the betting markets, and betting markets don't predict the future, but they show what people are thinking, Angela Rayner is the favourite, but she's still only got about a 30% chance. Wes Streeting, who was a favourite, he's a centrist, a sort of Blairite. He was favourite before her, but he's pushed out now to about 6 or 7 to 1 because he was very close with Lord Mandelson. And Wes Streeting's husband was actually an employee, a close business, political associate of Lord Mandelson. So he's pushed out. If someone was looking for an outside tip, gosh, I would probably look at somebody like off the radar, someone like a Bridget Phillipson, who's left wing, because of course this position, the new leader of the Labour Party, will be chosen largely by the membership, not by the MPs. And the membership loves the left wingers. That's how Jeremy Corbyn got in. So it's likely to be a left winger, and it's likely to be someone who's seen as not tainted with the toxicity of the past. So somebody like Bridget Phillipson, who's a rank outsider, I think about 75 to 1 at the bookies. I would be keeping an eye on her.